Welcome to the Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon, so a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Kimberly Schmidt, Twad Wazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, JMels24, Unimento, M, Iron26, Endless, Flat Earth Sage, Goldie McKiernan, Retro Bill, More Books, Cannabear, Fibroats, Bogey, Michael Kahn, John Hayes, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Will Brax, Mel B. Styles, Troy Shuker, Harry Blade, Mobile Max 777, Neo the One, Rob W, Open Minded, Reese Pound, Dale West Watson, Maria Neelands, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, The Real Gabster, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Life is Short, Texas Mike, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
So that was a light day for me.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Good morning.
Hey, Ted.
Morning, man.
There we go. I got a video for you if you don't have another.
What's it called?
How flat Earth was debunked over 2,000 years ago. Something like that.
Correct if I'm wrong, the heliocentric religion didn't exist 2,000 years ago, so how could flat Earth be debunked 2,000 years ago? That makes no sense.
I know, that's the funny part. It's like the Portuguese using the stars, knowing they were on a flat Earth to navigate, but all of a sudden they knew they were on the globe. So did you finish Dr. Becky yesterday? Because I had a short day.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
So how much after in the long show did it take to finish it off?
We did 90% in the live show, and then the last 10 minutes of the actual material was in the after show, and then there was 2 or 3 minutes afterwards where she did outtakes, but that was also quite useful, to be honest.
Oh, okay. I'll wait till the Uncut show comes out to see it. But interesting how they just assume everything and then build a world around that assumption.
Yeah. There was a part towards the end of the show where we're talking about comparisons with doctors, and the comparison is drawn that you go to your neural surgeon and you say, right, well, how experienced are you? Do you know how the brain works? And the doctor goes to his cue card, brings up this big white A3 card and says, we do not know. Then puts the card down and goes, now you heard some statistics about neural surgery. Let's just go through those now with you. And then when you go, yeah, but how much do you actually know of the brain? Hold on, I'll just get the card again. We do not know. Now let me reassure you about all the stuff you've heard that's good about neurology. We're just going to slice open your head.
That's funny. Oh, gosh. Yeah. I think the reviews of these videos of the more, not, I mean, they're all false, but how do you say, more prominent ones rather than the trolls or the anti-flat earthers are really good, because what I do is I just go through I type in flat earth or debunk flat earth or something like that. And I want to see what comes up on the first 5 to 10 pages. And, all you see is the same old trolls, the same old anti-flat earthers, but every now and then you get one of these guys who don't act like that. And okay, well, they're basing everything off of these guys, so let's go for the foundations of the lie.
Did you see Righteous Force's video by any chance?
No, I had a very busy day yesterday.
That's okay. It was
Oh, well.
specifically about Rakia and some Christian misconceptions, which I quite liked. Not because they were Christian misconceptions, just because they were my Christian misconceptions, if you want to phrase them that way. You there, Righteous?
Yeah, I'm here.
Can you just go through it?
Um,
I'm just going to go make a cup of coffee. I can still hear you, though.
Right. Well, basically, I point out that people looking at the root word rakia, they're basically it's that's called like etymology, right? Looking at the origin and development of the word through history or so on. And there's something called an etymological fallacy. So, in other words, what that entails is that etymology never, as in not even once, determines the meaning of a word. It's always the usage that determines the meaning of a word. Now, the etymology could match the meaning one-on-one, like for teapot and lighthouse, that's exactly as the etymology entails pretty much. But there's examples where the etymology of a word doesn't match, like honeymoon, right? And cockpit and bulldozer and so forth. So that was one of the things like I learned about too. And what I point out in the video, and I'm like, oh, okay, so this is good to know going forward. Because I noticed it's something that gets done, right? I may have done it too, but now going forward, I'm like, oh, okay, it's good to have this under my belt and know that this is called an etymological fallacy, and the reasoning is fallacious.
Why do you think they have hermeneutics as a method so that they don't? That's the whole point of the proper hermeneutics. It's to take in context that word and the culture, the people that used it, the context in which it was used. That's hermeneutics. That's the whole point of proper hermeneutics. And that's how we use that method of Bible interpretation to get to the exact meaning of it in that context for it.
Okay. Well, I'm not familiar with hermeneutics, but I did decide, okay, well, just because it's a fallacy doesn't mean it's wrong, right? Because that would be a fallacy. And just
Well, it's not a fallacy in
but,
proper hermeneutics.
okay, but since I'm not familiar with hermeneutics, I'm just going to say how I went about further with this, right? Looking at what God says about it, right? Because we're looking at the context, and you're saying that's hermeneutics, and well,
No, don't confuse the two. What God says about it, what a man will say God says about it, and what proper hermeneutics will say exactly what God said about it is the key, because this is how when we encounter false teaching, then we'll go to the verse and find out what each word means, and then we'll find out the context of it, and then we'll find out where else was it used and how was it used. We go through all of that.
okay. Well, like I
Yeah,
said, I can't. I'm just hearing what you're saying about it, and I'm listening, and
well,
I understand what you're saying.
if you did a video on etymology and the bad usage of it, and don't know what hermeneutics is, I say you're in trouble. Because you better go find out what hermeneutics is.
Well, maybe,
just
but
advise.
I looked that up one time, right? And when I looked it up on Wikipedia, it said there's many hermeneutics, right?
First, okay, Wikipedia hermeneutics or scholarly biblical hermeneutics there's a vast difference between the two. This is how false doctrine gets emanated out there. Is someone trying to figure out something, but they don't go through the proper method and miss something or miss two or three key things, and then they come out with a false teaching.
All right, that's fine, but how do we know what the proper method is, though?
Like you said, you looked it up once in Wikipedia, and that's all you know about it. Why don't you get a few books on it, read it, and find out what is the proper method. I mean, it's like a Greek scholar today reading modern Greek versus ancient Greek. What's he going to do? Well, he's going to have to go figure out the ancient Greeks and how they looked at things compared to the modern Greeks, and all of that's going to come into play. And then he's going to have to get some primary material of things that were written back then and see if there's a consistency to it all. Like if this word means this back then, did it mean that all the time back then in all writings? This is a laborious task.
All right, but how do I put this? Because you said proper hermeneutics. How
Yeah,
do we
because
determine which is proper, though? I'm just asking
Easy.
you. I don't know. I'm asking like from ignorance, you could say, right?
Easy, because everything's going liberal. So there's liberal hermeneutics as well, because obviously you get liberal interpretations because you don't use the words that were used up until a certain time and date. And then after that time, oh, well, it can't mean this. It can't, well, but all the thousands of years before that, they never meant that. Why is it all of a sudden can mean this? Like, look at today. What does liberalism do when it's unchained? It's crazy. Just go read some books on hermeneutics. You're going to have the etymology come up, and you're going to find out the structure in which proper interpretation. Because you're asking, like, when I talk to an elderly person when I was younger, I'm 64. But when I was younger, when I would talk to someone who was in their 90s, they would have a whole different way of talking and their memories and words that they would use. And so imagine doing that going back thousands of years. And so that's the proper hermeneutics, is to figure all that out.
Okay, but you could
No,
say in
that's
a
it.
sense I am doing that just by looking at what God says about it and elsewhere and all
No,
over the
you
place.
don't. Oh my gosh! You
Well,
just said you looked. You just said you looked at the word once in Wikipedia, which is where I would look for it. Number two, you're going to interpret what God says about it by not understanding the original languages and all of those things that it takes language experts to show you what those things are, because you don't speak Greek, neither do I, or Hebrew. So the point is, I could take a scripture in the Bible and I can misuse it like the cults do. And that's exactly what you would be doing.
Okay, but if you're saying you're going to so-called experts, wouldn't that be equivalent to saying you could possibly run an Neil deGrasse Tyson?
No, because if I take what Jehovah's Witnesses do with John 1:1, in the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God. They changed that to was a God. They go and they had their own so-called Greek scholar who said, yeah, that could be a God. And every Greek scholar up until that point said, no, that can never be translated a God. It just means God. So the guy was in Scotland. There was a court trial, and he was in court, and they were asking him to read Greek because he claimed to be a Greek scholar, and he was supposed to interpret their version of the Bible, which is the New World Translation, which changes that key scripture. Well, he says, no, he says, to speak Greek, I'm sorry. And he says, well, I can't speak it, but I can read it. And he lied, because, see, you can speak a language after you forget how to read it or write it, but you can never speak a language, say you read a language and not speak it. So he was claiming he could read it, but he could never speak it, when the opposite is true, because I'm foreigner and my Armenian language, I can't read anymore, right? I can't write it anymore, but I could speak it. And so they caught him lying. So he was falsehood. And then the person that they quoted, who was a Greek scholar, Dr. Manti, said he never said that. So they took what a real Greek scholar did. They had their fake Greek scholar, and then they came up with a translation, John 1:1, saying, in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was a God. But the a God doesn't exist in the original. This is why it's important. There's no but here.
All right, I was listening. I'm just, but
No, I know you were. That's. I'm glad you are. But again, to find out the etymology of the words is just one part of hermeneutics. That's all. I'll just do all the other parts.
All right. As you were talking, I did have some questions about things, and there's something that you said that was like kind of key. And even if you have all this stuff and it is proper and it is, everything that you said it is, would you agree that somebody coming at something from a perspective of a doctrine could still skew everything, or could still skew things, that's to say, instead of everything?
That's the whole reason you do it this way, so you don't. So you use scripture to interpret scripture with. So you see all the other scriptures. Like when Jesus says he rose, handle me and see, a spirit does not have flesh and bone. Well, that destroys the fact people say that Jesus rose spiritually, not physically. Now, who says that? The cults. They say, no, he didn't rise physically from the dead. But Jesus said, when they thought they saw a ghost, because, they saw him die and all of a sudden they see him alive, he said, no, handle me and see. For a spirit does not have flesh and bone as you see me have. Well, there you go. So that destroys that doctrine, that false teaching that he rose as a spirit, as a ghost. So you use scripture to interpret scripture. You have to know the words. You have to use, these are all methods of hermeneutics. This is why it's not just one method. It's just a checklist of things to make sure you get it right. So the etymology is important, the context is important, how it was used, this whole thing.
Who's
Good morning.
Herman?
Mic check.
Good morning.
Hey, Neil.
Herman who?
What did I
Well,
stumble
Good
into?
morning.
Well, if etymology never proves or never defines a word, or how did I word it before? If the etymology never determines the meaning of a word, then how does hermeneutics use etymology?
But who's saying that? You got to get that. That's one part of the pie you're making. So you got the filler. Now, what about the crust? So you're making a whole pie. So you're trying to come out with, what does this verse mean? What is the context of it? It takes more than the etymology. How was that used? In what way was it used?
But how can it take more than etymology, and if that etymology never determines the meaning of a word?
Okay, I'm going to go to a ball. What did I mean? Am I going to a dance? Am I going to a ball game? Am I going
Good
to
one,
just have
Ken.
fun?
Exactly. The usage determines the meaning.
I just said that.
Yeah, he
All right,
did.
but
That's what he just said.
But that's not adding to etymology.
No, that's hermeneutics, to know how the usage was. How was it used? Not just the word alone, righteous. Why are you being
Okay,
difficult?
okay.
I've already covered all this.
All right. Well, I said I'm coming, from, I guess, in a sense, you could say ignorance. I'm trying to ask you questions just to see how you
Yeah,
respond.
but no, the simple fact is, if I open the Bible and I just
Okay.
read, I'm going to have an understanding pretty much okay. Then if I want to dig into something, because there's a troublesome verse, for example, like there's one that talks about heaping hot coals on your enemy's head. Well, in our context, heaping hot coals on enemy's head sounds like something Neil would like to do to somebody, right? Because he likes to get in there and have it out. But that's not what the verse in context is saying. He's saying someone, even your enemy, whose fire has gone out, give him some of your hot coals, and then they, with a clay pot, obviously, would carry it on their head to their tent and start a fire. So it's saying, bless your enemy. But if you're reading it today, you say, heaping hot coals on your enemy's head. So after I beat him up, I just put coals on his head? Is that how God wants me to deal with him? Come on.
Well,
I have a separate
okay.
about a different whenever y'all.
Still have to look at that a little bit more closer, but I heard what you said.
All right. Well, I would look at it a lot closer than just a scant look at Wikipedia, because hermeneutics is the method that is being used to get what you're trying to say. And you just looked at one part of it. That's all.
Can I just ask what the question was from the beginning? I missed it.
How to get Neil to calm down in the
That's an
21st
impossibility.
century. In the 21st century.
Yeah, hey, Ted, you're not going to find no hermeneutics, no directory to figure that out.
Well, there is one way I know that would work.
All right, let me ask this quick.
Yeah, when you yell at me.
Hang on, there was
feelings.
another guy trying to get in. Who was that guy?
Yeah, it had nothing to do with the topic at hand. Just I guess whenever y'all, it was a navigation question. It was the
Yeah, I'm done
diameter.
with
How do we?
righteous, unless he wants to keep talking. I'm done.
Yeah, okay. We'll move on.
I just wanted to know. I can't remember how we get from 60 nautical miles per degree to the diameter of the equator to the 24,000.
All right. Well,
For the
when you're using the base, when you're using the Babylonian base 60 system. Everything is revolving, so to speak, pun intended, around 360. And if you break down 360, that's 360 degrees. Each degrees is 60 minutes, because 60 times 60 is your 360. What is that? That's too early in the morning. I might calculate. Hold on. Yeah, 3,600. So there it is. Minutes. So the whole point is everything's going to be 60. It's the conversion rate that you're really asking about. So if I want to take any part of a measurement and say feet, inches, miles, in this case miles, what is the conversion rate of that mile to the unit of the Babylonian 360 base 60 system? Because everything's going to be 60 degrees, no matter 60 nautical miles. So because you're using that system, whatever miles you have that's actual miles is going to equal 60 nautical miles, because it has to fit into their base 60 system. So say the statute mile conversion rate to 60 to each mile. What is that? That's 1.15, I believe. Okay, but what if the mile was 2.20? Well, then that would be it. But you still would say 60 nautical miles, even though the mile just got longer. So the statute miles and that unit of 60 will never change. It's the statute miles that changes, but it's always going to be 60 nautical miles, because they'll just say a mile is X long, and that's equals 1 nautical mile. But then someone will say, well, my mile is twice as long as that guy's mile. Okay, well, then that will equal 1 nautical mile. It'll always be 60 nautical miles, but you look at the conversion rate, and that's the distance in statute miles. I don't know if I did. It's too early in the morning, but that's the way it works.
Thank you, sir.
Was gobbly this morning, or did you get that?
No, I got it. Because I was, for the life of me, I couldn't remember. It's just times 360.
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be 60 nautical miles, no matter what a mile is. Okay, let's say you go to some place and their mile is twice as long as what your country's mile is. And then they want to use the base 60 method for something. It's always going to be that their mile will be the 60, the 1 nautical mile. And there'll be 60 of them in the degree.
Sweet. Yeah, the 60 nautical miles. It has to do with a knot, right?
No, that's a different. See, the air. How can I put it? Sea miles and air miles are done in nautical miles. Land miles are done in statute. Okay, that's the way it is currently. And when the ships were at sea, they wanted to know how fast the boats were going. So they would have a rope with knots in it, and they would count the knots in the rope, and they were evenly spaced, these knots. And then they would do a short part of the journey, and they would let it out, and then they would count, and then they say the boat is going 4 knots or 5 knots or 10 knots. That's KNOTS. And then this is NAUT, nautical miles. So I don't think they're the same, but they sound the same. And it's not, you don't use the base 60 for nautical miles on the speed of a boat. At least my understanding is not the same.
It's not the same. Okay. Thank you.
I haven't put any studies into it. I don't want to get all tied up at the moment. So
I was just gonna say, Ted, come on, you had a good pun, but I should have known you had a follow up. Everything's twisted at the moment, Ted. Everything's twisted.
everything's twisted. In fact, the whole thing's frayed.
Tweet it back together.
No, it's my grandson brought his fishing pole to me. He's like 6 years old. He says, "Grandpa, can you fix this?" And the spool's all out. But it's all okay. Yeah, I'll fix that for you. Just leave it here. Talk about nuts.
So, Ted Man, how is that guy, Mr. Sensible, still around talking about the things he's talking about? Stuff that we've debunked? Do they just ignore everything that has transpired, let's say, since the Black Swan? Or are they deliberately just like ignoring it?
You mean when Michael Kahn showed his citations on triangulation and trilateration and destroyed Mr. Sensible with just 2 citations? Is that what you're talking about?
I'm not sure. I just popped on Flatsoid the other day, and he was talking about how the Foucault's pendulum is a proof. They were going
Mike,
over.
Yesterday's show, Michael Kahn, at the beginning of Flatsoid show, destroyed Mr. Sensible with 2 citations. Mr. Sensible challenged Michael Kahn to a debate. Michael Kahn said, "Great, I'll see you on the FED tomorrow morning." And of course, he didn't show up. So Michael took the beginning of Flatsoid show and reminded everybody that Mr. Sensible, who wanted a debate, didn't show up, but Michael was going to end it once and for all. And with 2 citations, destroyed Mr. Sensible. It was classic.
I didn't even know that happened. Wow, that's good.
Yeah.
But Michael's got to learn. Make sure you get paid. If they're going to come in, but they don't come in anyway. But if they're going to set the challenge, they got to come up with the loot, right? What they come
Michael
up with,
knows
5,000?
Well, Michael knows that if he goes to their show, but they can come to Nathan's show anytime, and he refused to come for free.
Oh, by the way, I stumbled across this video how Nathan Oakley is the saddest flat earth show on. I don't know who it is, this guy is, but I posted it in Master T.
I looked at the beginning of it when
He's
I
an
was
idiot,
making
right?
That's planar walk. That's he's small fry. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Oh,
He's
that's who Planar Walk is? Oh, get out of
Well,
here.
I think that's planar walk. It said it right on this channel thing.
I noticed that there was no debunking. There was no debunking at all.
Well, maybe they don't sleep in the bunk bed.
No, they'll just say things like, this is stupid. It makes no sense. Earth is not flat. Okay. Is that your
Like-
rebuttal?
Why did they measure it flat? Why is the measurements for celestial navigation all done from the equatorial plane? Why isn't it done from a curved surface? Why does the nautical almanac say that the vertex of the angle is at the center of the Earth on a plane and never coming from a curved surface? Why is their own books never using a curved baseline to establish the angle? This is them. This is not us.
Yeah, they're grasping for straws right now. But that's what I'm saying.
I mean-
They have no debunks. So all they could do is just nah, but they have nothing to do that with. I mean,
Well,
it's
you don't-
over.
I have a philosophy that I learned after being eager and excited, the young man, and realizing that the older men knew it before I did. That you don't debate a corpse.
As witness, right? There's no
Well,
debate.
when
When they come on, there's no debate. It's like you're debating a corpse.
when the argument's defeated and they continue to keep talking, it's just nerves. They're actually dead. So quit debating them. It's over. It's foolish
Hey,
to
did you ever-
debate a corpse. Hang
Hey,
on.
Go ahead.
Hey, it's you knock a guy here. I'll use it in your world. You're in a boxing match. You knock the guy out. The ref comes, separates you, and he counts to 10. And he does a hand motion. Fight's over. He raises your hand. You're the clear winner. Everybody clap. And you say, I'm not done with him. I'm going to go and do some more damage on him. But he's dead. I mean, he's dead, unconscious dead. He's not going to fight you. He's not going to lift a finger. He can't do anything. But you want to keep fighting him. There's no need. If they can, and so if you take that to our debate, when we use their books to destroy them on something, it's like that fighter on the ground, and then they verbally want to come back, but they're dead. They don't realize they're dead. But they like zombies. They morph again.
Hold on. I got a better one than that. You ever hear the stories that people, they go to funeral parlors to pay respect to their loved ones, and because of like nerves, the body will sit straight up? That's what we got going on here. They're dead, embalmed, and in a casket. But like you said, the nerve twitch, and they'll sit straight up. But it's a waste of time.
I don't know who gets more, the funeral home that gets paid or the respect. I don't know which is worse.
Funeral home gets a lot of money. Somebody
I
was
know,
trying to say
it's big.
something?
No, clearly.
Oh. And with that,
Pre-show.
yeah.
Do you guys have some material to work with today, or what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Flat
I
Earth
posted.
theory, how it was debunked 2,000 years ago.
Are we continuing Dr. Becky, or which one?
We finished Dr. Becky by a channel called Invicta. We'll get to that when we get to the live show.
Yeah, it's
Ooh.
really good it's really good to go through some of these people in the astrophysics and stars and so forth, because it ties back into everything quite well.
I invited a few TikTok globies on. Let's see if they respond.
Well done.
Hi guys.
name-
All right.
Hello.
Hey, on deck.
It is. I know we all know this, and we're listening. It's ludicrous, isn't it, when you listen to them, like the Brian Cox and these people about the black holes and the spaghettification and everything they're coming out with. I just sit here listening to the show sometimes and thinking, what are they actually? They're just talking about things that don't actually exist, just made up fucking fairy tales in the head, but they're there. They're actually in this world, and it just really gets me how they can. I don't know what it is. What is up with these people? It's ludicrous.
They have
Absolutely
to give
ludicrous.
meaning. They have to give meaning to the world that they're constructing. And so when they leave the real scientific method, which, seat of the pants logic now they call it, they can make up anything they want. And they have, I've seen Lawrence Krauss, I've seen Neil deGrasse Tyson, I've seen some other big names like on a stage. I can't remember what YouTube video it was, but they're like the high priests of this whole thing. And Michio Kaku would be one of them. And they're all on the stage sitting in chairs, and they're all taking on a subject, and they're kidding around with each other. And if you know what's going on, like we do, is we tear them apart. Okay, you say science. What kind of science? Did you do the where's your hypothesis? Or, oh, you're just observe and declare science. Okay, so okay, but how are you declaring, but just by observing without any experiments? Well, we have a world of our own, the Big Bang, and it exploded, and so black holes, and we can go back in time with a telescope, and this is what you're talking about, right? They just make stuff up because they have this Big Bang world that never happened, but then they have to give meaning to it, so they got to fill in the chapters with something, and then they'll say it's this far away. Later they'll say, well, we were wrong, it's really this far away, and then they'll retract again. So it's always changing story. And then you've got Eric Van Linder coming and saying gravity isn't real and isn't a force, but they still teach it in school as it is. And then when you get to university level where he's at, you learn that it isn't anything and never was. And so you got to put all these things together to realize the sham.
So you're saying they could say whatever they want to say, basically. There's no holes barred.
No black holes, bad.
Yeah. But the only way you get them is because they're called sciences or the science department, and then you can get them by taking them to their basic rudiments of their education. Oh yeah, scientific method, hypothesis, we know about that. Oh, did you use any of it? No, we didn't. Well, then how do you know?
Yeah, scary.
Well, I watched the one with I watched the one that Chocolate put up with Michio Kaku saying the molten iron core stopped, and he tried to give a reason why it stopped. Oh, well, you know what? Every 70 years. What the heck is it with these they just make stuff. Oh, every 70 years it stops or whatever. It's like, what?
Yeah, because you can't go back and trace it. How are you going to go back and trace 70 years to see if it really did stop?
Well, first of all, he told you how they figured it out. Earthquakes. How are you going to figure out if something stopped with earthquakes?
Hold on a second. I thought earthquakes make things move.
But the whole point is the gaps between them and the differential of this quake at this level of the Richter scale versus this, and then the liquid metal. Well, wouldn't there be no magnetics then if it's liquid metal?
I'll tell you what's exciting, though. I'll tell you the truth. That kids, they're asking questions now in school all over the place, asking questions and holding the teachers to it. That's amazing. And if they get a hold of these arguments, like you said, Tent, forget about it. We're right in the middle of a paradigm shift.
Well, even so, like, even when they... Sorry,
you're going.
I was just saying, obviously, we're chatting about this core that stopped and changed direction, whether it's done. But just by them actually coming out with this, it's getting people. It's putting the emphasis of we live on a globe out there still to the normies. It's just more globe programming about this core. We're definitely on a ball. There's definitely a core there. It stops. It's just keeping it going, keeping the bullshit going with the globe.
That's you're right. Yep. You're absolutely right. They have to keep doing that.
No, the story can get as crazy and unbelievable as it can just to keep the consensus.
Exactly. So you see the commercial where the two new people, I guess they're two new astronauts or civilians that are on the moon with an experienced astronaut, and they're amazed at the Earth that they see. And the older astronaut's like bored. He goes, yeah, I've seen it over 100 times. And he gets up and he starts playing golf and he hits a shot. That's all programming. That's all to keep it going.
That's why it's called television programming.
Words, right? Words and their meaning.
Television.
Well, they use didn't they say that they use the gladiators to distract the masses? And the other day when I was watching football, I think it's true. I think everything is rigged, I think it's all for a diversion, you know. Keep your mind occupied over here, while we just rip you apart over here.
That's the way you keep them distracted, give them pleasures, and keep the lie going. Like when, like if I was working my business and I was younger, I couldn't be a part of the show. I'm already working. It's just like there's no way. So my time to be a part of the show is when I'm retired. I got some time on my hand. Not so back then. If I go back to my heyday of working hard, having several businesses at the same time, there was no time to go check out what scientists were telling me or what I mean, I'm behind I have to use a stupid credit card again. That's where my world was back then. I got 3 kids in 3 years and we're busy like you can't believe. So the whole point is life's crazy. We ain't got time to check out all this programming that we're being hit with and the imagery, the globe and all this stuff. They can hit you with anything. It doesn't matter. They're just, go ahead, hit me. I still got to put food on the table. Okay. Then when you get to a certain point in life where you do have time and you want to jump in and be part of what's going on, you say, wow, look at all the things that they do to busy people.
Yeah, but times, you got to admit, times were different back then. And if the times were the way they are now back then, and you were able to stumble across this information, I don't know. I think you might be interested in it.
No, there was no internet. There was no sharing of ideas. Everything was, I had to put a dime and a nickel and a quarter in the paid phone booth. There wasn't no, I was here before pagers. I was here before all that stuff. I mean, it's
Me
crazy.
too.
Right.
You know
So
something?
the point is you can't get the information as easy as you're getting it today. I mean, I'm talking to Nathan, he's in London. What's for free?
Science, baby, science. That's what they think, right? Meanwhile, it's just technology advancing, which is
Can I
great,
say
right?
something? It's crazy how, like, let's say the richest person, let's say Elon Musk, we probably live the same life as them. Like, we have cell phones. I have a cell phone. I mean, we basically 90% live the same life pretty much as the
Mhm.
richest person on earth.
I don't know about that. You see, money doesn't make you happy. I agree with that, but it makes things a lot easier. You know what I mean? When you're not stressing to pay bills, it's a big difference.
No, I'm saying the
That's not what
comparison has
liberty.
grown
That's
a
not
lot
what Gene was
smaller.
saying.
Oh, I know what you're saying. Yeah, he lives the same way we live as far as, yeah, I got you. Yeah, of course. He's a human, isn't he? Well, maybe not.
Here we go. So this Friday, I'm gonna go to a planetarium.
You're going?
Yeah, I'm going to the planetarium.
Wait till I tell you how the way it's going now. Right now, we're using the sky to move, but it really don't work like that. It's really the Earth that's moving. They're going to tell you that. That's they told
Well,
me.
I haven't
you got any
gone to
questions?
one yet. Oh,
Are you
yeah,
gonna-
I have a
lined up,
lot.
mate?
All right. Well, it's first of all, I got to sit through an hour talk. Some expert on astronomy, which is I'm looking forward to it. I do have a lot of questions.
When are you gonna pipe up at the
And
end,
then
or are you gonna interject yourself?
No. I'm investigating. I have the second installment after the Sextant to come out with, and I need some information, and I want to get it direct from the horse's mouth.
10th man is a viper. He's not going to go in there like a crazed dog. He's going to go there and investigate like a serpent slithering through. Then when he comes
You're not
back,
gonna wear your
oh
flat Earth
boy,
shirt?
What?
I could see it now. GoFundMe account for 10th man's bail money.
no
You're
way.
not gonna wear your
Bail money.
Hey, listen, when I
gonna wear
went
your
to the
flat Earth shirt?
planetarium, 10th man, when I went to the planetarium, The guy was going through the whole thing like you're going to go through. And my son had all the answers to the stars, the constellations, and everything. It was just funny. I just sat back and was like, oh boy, don't they realize what he just said? In reality, the ground is moving, but because we're here, we're going to make overhead move like it's the sky. But that's the reality. Nobody sees it.
Well, there's an easy comeback for that one. That one's the easiest. I have some harder questions. Then there's this other planetarium that I'll be going to the third, I think the third week of February as well. So two in the month of February I'll be at.
Now, are they big planetariums? Because I just went to a small one on one of the vacations we went to. There's like a small one, you know, they had like a theater there. Are you going to one of the, like, when I was a kid, we used to go to Hayden Planetarium to watch the Pink Floyd show, the Laser Light show.
Okay.
That
Well,
was
you
usually
got
the-
museum
it doesn't matter what
that
size. It
doubled as
doesn't
a-
matter what size.
Go ahead.
No, it doesn't matter what size the planetarium is. It's what they're doing in the planetarium. They got the celestial sphere on the ceiling, right, Neil?
That's correct.
And what are you sitting on? And don't say chair.
You'll be sitting on a flat Earth.
That is the celestial horizon, a big, large disk all the way to the celestial sphere. Where's the curved surface?
You're not gonna, 10th man. You're not gonna have it.
What do you mean
you
I'm not going to
taking
have
the,
it? I'm going to have him. I'm going to have him through his lips tell me that.
You got him, man. What is he gonna do? Oh, you gotta
That's-
record it.
No, this is not that kind of a thing. This is investigative because I want to know how they portray it, and then in the
Record it,
books they'll say
record it, put it on
that
TikTok.
it's off of a plane.
well, they're just portraying the stars as we see them. And it's just it's an angular perspective of the sky. That's what we actually see, and that's all they'll be showing you, an angular perspective of the stars on a, off a
Right,
flat
but where-
plane.
But that's
But
a
where-
confession, though.
Hang on, no, hang on, Neil. That's half the story. One day.
One day.
Okay, I'm looking at the stars from a perspective issue. It looks like a dome, right?
Yeah.
Okay. In what you're trying to tell me, what am I on when I'm looking up at that?
Not a curved Earth.
Well, they're not
You're
even
a flat-
telling you you're on the curved Earth. You're on the
Yeah, you're on the
celestial equator.
equatorial plane.
Oh, the equatorial plane.
No, it gets bigger than that. It extends to the celestial horizon, and it's one big plane all the way to the stars.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a large area.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's large or small. It's a plane. It's not a curved surface.
Yeah, it's flat.
Yeah.
But
That's the whole point.
But aren't they going to take you through how they do it though? Because they hold no punches. They say they get it from the center of the earth. What's wrong with that? That's how we get the measurements.
I say, great. Is the center of the earth got a curved surface?
I don't know because nobody's ever been there.
No, because it's an equatorial plane that extends to the celestial horizon, which is now the celestial equator, as one, and all the stars in their model are under that plane that cannot be seen. And they're only seen as the earth turns, and that plane allows you to see more stars. But it's not a curved surface, is what I'm trying to get at.
So I said from the beginning, we know that. But does he know that?
No, they don't look. Neil, they don't say to the public in these meetings, okay, here's a celestial sphere. The ancients used it, and you have to imagine that you're on a flat plane for it to work. They don't say that.
There's got to be somebody. What do they call those people that do those things when they take you on a tour? Oh God, I forgot. Yeah, tour guide. But there's somebody that gives the presentation. There's a guy there that's going to give the whole presentation.
The presenter.
Right. He's the guy that's going to. He's the guy that's going to be held to task.
All their references a flat plane. So where does the curve of the Earth come in? When does that ever come in?
But that's the intriguing thing. I don't like. You would think it would click, because when you first started laying this down, like it clicked. Like, oh shoot, yeah, they can't. How are they going to get these measurements from a curve? You can't. It's impossible. I work with tools. I know to work with a square. You need a flat baseline. When is it going to click in?
I think you're looking at it from a different way. You're looking for them to understand the contradiction when they're not even looking for one.
Yes, I understand that. But when it comes face to face with them, you understand if he's a normal guy who thinks he's got it all together and he thinks he knows everything that's going on, and you break this down, isn't there a part of him, or does pride come in where he just braces against it?
He's never had the conversation for that to happen yet. The normie has never been in a room where he could watch someone learned and another person who knows what that guy's all about have a back and forth to make an assessment. This has never occurred in their life. It's occurring now on a daily basis on Flat Earth Debate. The point is, we're just showing what the books say, and then the books insert a globe, but they can't work on the globe. And so the apparent contradiction is what we're addressing. So if I ask, where does the angle measurement come from? And they say from the center of the Earth, I go, well, then what's the guy doing on the boat with a sextant when the Earth under him is curved? How can that work? How can you have diverging zeniths? How can you have 90 degrees on the curved surface anyway? And we're not talking about the zenith of the guy above his head going to the center of the Earth. We're talking about the GP of the sun that has a zenith 90 degrees over the Earth, and the GP of the observer with the sextant has a zenith 90 degrees to Earth. And that baseline is the zenith distance.
By the way, Neil deGrasse Tyson never answered that question. How you get an elevation angle from a curved surface? He never answered it.
Smart, you can't.
I mean, even to suggest that we're doing the navigation in the center of an Earth is absurd to start with. And anybody who believes that somebody's in the center of the Earth when they're actually navigating the surface of Earth is also insane. It's just stupidity to think that you could be at the center of Earth.
From the center of the Earth, you don't have diverging zeniths. From the surface, you would. So there's contradiction right there.
It seems like to me you're literally going into Plato's cave to talk about the shadows on the wall.
You're exactly right.
Completely agree.
But it's a long-term plan. It's, before I come out with that next part, it might be 3 months. But the whole point is I'm connecting with people who are aficionados in this. And I've got to learn from them because this is how they teach it. This is how they were taught. Then I got to get the books that they got. And then I'm going to find the same stinking contradictions in those books on astronomy as we did on celestial navigation. It's going to be the same. It's going to be the exact same argument. You watch.
Ah, I'm excited for you, mate. When are you going? Be great, this.
Yeah, I'm going to go twice in February, and I've got a meeting with an astronomy club to join it. Yeah, it's going to be a good investigation. I want to learn. I want to learn what they do, how they do it.
And man's infiltrating. He's
That
infiltrating.
man's a Trojan horse.
He's infiltrating.
No, I'm going to buy one of their used equatorial mount telescopes even.
That man's a Trojan horse.
No, I'm just a person who wants to learn and then ask questions.
Might try and find one of these places locally to me as well, and I might go and have a listen and pose some questions myself.
Yeah, go
No, you
ahead. I
mentioned
think
it.
everyone after listening, but everyone after listening to this should do what I'm doing. Just go learn, be respectful, ask questions, go do your homework, go buy the books they tell you to buy, look for the contradictions like we found in the celestial navigation books, and then go back and say, okay, you told me this, you showed me this, I bought this. Why does it say this? Duh, blah, 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 blah. So we're going to get.
Hey, Adam.
Afternoon, guys.
Yeah,
Yo.
So you're gonna get a mount, are you, Tim? I just stood there.
yeah. I called one guy who's part of the club here that meets monthly, and I said, "Do you guys ever upgrade your EQ mounts and have old ones to sell at a reduced price?" He says, "Oh, I'm sure we'll be able to find you somebody." I said, "Great." So I'm gonna get me a used one first.
So you're gonna be stepping on and off the sky now. Look at that.
That's it. We go from the earth to the sky.
Just watch out for them event horizons, mate.
Mhm. Well, I'm hopefully going to be the event.
Hey.
So we're only going to cover a couple of housekeeping questions in the live show. We're going to cover any scientific evidence of gravity and any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics. Just so you know what we're covering.
And can I do a plug after that before you start the video thingamajig?
Which you can. By
Thank
all
you.
means.
One deck,
Oh.
you got a poem? What's your latest poem?
Got a couple.
Let's have it. You got 3 minutes.
Well, we just mentioned housekeeping, so I've got a housekeeping poem. It's called Good Housekeeping. If we could only see the curve, if we could only feel the spin, the globe would be on a win-win. But we don't, and it's not. So here's how to clean up using the deadly three. Listen very carefully to me. Do you have any evidence of R? This is housekeeping questioning number 1. The answer you'll get is the horizon is curved. Boy, oh boy, they got some nerve. Full well knowing back in Black Swan 2020 debunks 3959, so obviously. If they still don't believe you, then show them the pics. This is visual proof. We're not playing tricks. Okay, on to housekeeping questioning number 2. It's about gas pressure containment. Now what they're going to do? Well, they say a pressure gradient gets them out of this mess. That's where they come back with, at the very best. Now just remind them what pressure is. It's the pressing of gas within containment therein. A pressure gradient still needs to be contained. It's the only way pressure can remain. And as for the third final killer, housekeeping number 3, now prove evidence of axial rotation to me. With this one, they'll go on and on about how the lights in the sky appear to move overhead, but they can't address flight times because of said spin. This one gets right under their skin. And here is something we can do at home. Why don't you just hover your drone? Stand underneath it for a period of time. You won't see any drift in the sky. So keep these 3 housekeeping questions close to your heart. They help to rip the globe light apart. And if you want housekeeping number 4, the FED crew have that and more. So join the show and subscribe today and enjoy the rest of your Flat Earth Day.
Welcome to the Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto, and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Eli, Adam, Neil, 10th Man, Righteous Force, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
G'day, everybody.
I'd like to thank
Yeah.
One Deck for opening up the live stream, unbeknownst to him, with his poem. Thank you very much for that, One Deck. That was excellent.
Pleasure, thank you.
I've got a couple of housekeeping questions. So, any evidence, or any scientific evidence, of gravity?
Which type?
Which one?
First?
Don't all
which
go at
one?
once. Okay, currently, gravity is claimed to be the bending of a fourth dimensional pseudo realm conjured up by Einstein. Ergo, Einsteinian gravity would be the current gravity I would ask for, because the only other gravity that is in existence is Newtonian mass attracting mass, which was superseded 108 years ago by Einstein. So Einstein, any scientific evidence of gravity?
Nope.
How about any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
No.
Just a grunt from Arwin, which is just as good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you
yeah.
grunting.
I wasn't sure my sound was coming through.
It certainly was.
All right. Hello.
Let's try that again. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
No,
Not
that's
yet.
impossible.
That's
I know, but
impossible.
I used to say not yet, but that's impossible because the entire field rests on very specific presuppositions, which make it impossible to create a viable hypothesis within that field. I mean, they could make one outside of the field, but yeah, what's the point?
When my Death Star is completed, I'll be able to do it.
Right.
Is that it? I know.
Well, being flippant.
I don't mind flippant. It means we can get
making the
straight onto
same
the
point.
video. It's no bother. Any more for any more? Okay, so I can't remember. Was it Gene that said that he'd invited some TikTokers along? So if you are that said TikToker and you come along and there's not enough space to join the Discord stream, then there is a live stream queue. So after you've been through the usual rigmarole of joining a Discord server, however that is done, it's not something I do frequently, but I'm sure it's relatively simple. I've managed it. So, but yeah, if the stream's full, which has a maximum of, I think it's something like 17 people, you can just join the queue, and then a moderator, will move you into the live stream. So we can have an overflow. We can have more than the room is allowing, but it has to have somebody move you in. So if you're trying to join to debate Gene, then feel free. You'll be warmly welcomed. In the meantime, we're going to cover a video, but don't feel that it's rude to interrupt if you are that person. Anyway, is there anything else before we move on? Neil.
Well,
Speak
I'm
up
good.
now, forever
Move
hold
on.
your peace.
I'm good.
Neil's good.
We got
Okay,
a
there's a
bit
plug
of
from
dictionary
Righteous, then we
corner.
will go on. Go ahead, Righteous.
right, and I want to do quickly a plug for my latest video on YouTube, and it's
You sound very
Righteous Force
nervous
channel,
about that. It's fantastic.
right? Well, great. Now you got me all frazzled a little
Right,
bit.
let's do it for him. Be here or be sphere on the Righteous Force YouTube channel for the video named...
Biblical cosmology, Rakia, and Raka, and basically we look at this claim about Rakia and Raka, and basically how they look at the etymology of the word, and how I discovered that this is called an etymological fallacy, and I point out why and how, and then after that I go even further and we look in God's word to see what the Lord says about it, because just because it's a fallacy, we can't say it's wrong, because that would be a fallacy. And in the video, I do try to keep it simple. I try not to toss around the word fallacy too much, because some people may not be privy to it. So I do keep it very simple. But I did link an article in the description too that breaks down the fallacies a bit better too. So I'll leave it at that for now.
On the
Well, don't leave it
Righteous
at that. I'm
Force
intrigued
YouTube
now.
channel. Be here or be sphere. Subscribe today. I'm sure someone will put a link. Oh, look at that. Got Divergent Droid all over it. So yeah, check it out. There's a link going through on the live stream now, and subscribe today if you're not already. I do want to do a plug for another YouTuber. So I like to find YouTubers that I don't know, take me away in a fantastical way, and also have something that's going to engage me on a relatively realistic level. Examples of which are people like Russian Vids, where he's talking about stuff that you can directly relate to in a physical term. It's something that you might have experienced on the front page of a newspaper or in a headline on your iPad. But then he's talking about it, Russian Vids that is, and he's speculating in a way that is sometimes, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying that, a bit far-fetched, let's just say. Sometimes, not always. Sometimes he's right on the money. In fact, most of the time he's right on the money, let's be honest. Nevertheless, there's another YouTuber who's out there who's British, who does a very similar thing to Russian Vids. Maybe this is offensive to be compared to Russian Vids. Maybe it's not. I don't know, and I don't care. Either way, I watch this guy because I really enjoy his material, and I want to recommend him. This guy's called Bobby Zines. So go and check him out. He does a regular live stream, and he's a good YouTuber. I can sit and listen to him and relax for quite a long time while he talks about pure conspiracy. So it's pure indulgence. Again, not necessarily for everybody, but by the same token, I'm just contrasting the sort of biblical study, which is very heavy going. I'm not being rude when I say that it is. It's not that it's not fascinating, and it is, and I very much enjoyed Righteous Force's most recent video. So yeah, go and check that out. But also check out Bobby Zines, because he's a really good YouTuber, and if you're into that sort of thing, which I know a lot of people who are in this flat earth realm are also very much into conspiracies. Now, while I'm not actually into them, into the respect that I would do anything on them, I do still enjoy watching them. So there we go. So Bobby Zines is another YouTuber. I don't know if someone from my moderating team, if somebody can dig out a link for Bobby, that would be really appreciated. So Bobby Zines, check him out. As I say, he does a live stream. He's quite interactive with his chat, and he covers conspiracies and offers up his conjecture in regards to things that are going on in the mainstream currently. So there we go. So there's a couple of plugs. Those are out of the way. Anything else anybody wants to plug? Also, Arwin, obviously, check out the early bird show that goes out before Flat Earth Debate as we're doing plugs. Anybody else?
I've posted that. Bobby's Iron. I've posted the thank you video that he did for you, because obviously you kindly donated him your old machine.
Yeah, he's thanked me. I've thanked him. Blah blah blah. Yeah, I don't want it to go to drag out the fact that I've given him a couple of bits of equipment. I mean, I'm very blessed to have the equipment going spare because other people have given me equipment, and he's done several live streams thanking me. And I sort of got the impression on his last live stream is like, look, I've thanked you and I've thanked you. I kind of want to stop thanking you, and I kind of echo that sentiment, which is to say, yeah, at a point you just go, yeah, great, yes, you've had some equipment off me, thank you very much, great, yeah, wonderful, glad you're using it. But it's selfish motives, if I'm honest. I like your show, and he had a scratchy mic, and while I was watching, right, it kind of took me out of the zone because he had this old Mac, and he'd start playing a video, and he even did a little trimmed out clip, which I really appreciated because it was reminiscent of what annoyed me about his show, which was to say he'd be sat there waiting for a video to load. I mean, like, snapped out of the moment. And you're like, what's going on? Why is there a bit of... Oh, he's fiddling around with his computer. So in many ways, I just wanted to have better audio and a better video experience when I watched him. So I'm like, I want you to have my equipment that's going spare that I've outgrown, because it's still really good equipment and certainly in excess of what he needs. And sure enough, his last stream, I even commented on it. I was like, this sounds good, looks good, you play a video, it starts, marvellous. I couldn't be more happy when I'm just trying to escape the world watching some of his stuff, which I do, you know. There's lots of stuff like that, but the problem is when you do anything that's semi like that but mainstream, you can get your way through half a dozen to a dozen videos before they mention Flat Earth in a derogatory way. And it just pisses me off, excuse my French, because you just, again, it snaps you out at the moment and suddenly you feel like you've got to, I don't want this to sound bad towards us, but work. You've got to do some reaction video to it or something, or you feel like you've got to type out a comment that's related to the subject that you're about to detract in regards to their presentation of it, Flat Earth being the main subject. And you don't want to do that when you're just watching some random YouTube video. You want to escape if you're watching about cars. You know, it really bugs me when they start talking about Flat Earth. I want to know about the Ferrari. I'm here to escape from work. Not that I hate doing this job, far from it. I love what I do. Feel like I never work a day in my life, if I'm honest, because of that. But it is still a bit like that when you watch your stuff. People watch EastEnders, and I say that because he critiques EastEnders, Bobby Zines, that is, to escape, right? Now, those soaps are custom designed to suck you back into the mundane nature of people's average life and then zhuzh it up a bit with drama, right? Which, for some people, is escapism. Well, I get the same from watching videos about cars or videos about true crime or the same old crap that everyone else watches. Well, in this case, it's conspiracy. I'm not saying it's crap, by the way. I'm just saying my escapism is just the stuff you chuck on to escape from stuff. Anyway, yeah, I want the quality to be higher when it comes to Bobby, and I just wanted to give him my PC so this stream was better. So now I can feel, not that I wouldn't have anyway, but much more confident recommending people go over, and they'll just see a lot more polished presentation when he gets to his stuff. As polished as someone like Righteous Force. You know, when you go and watch a Righteous Force video, he's very clear. You don't necessarily need to see him on camera, but you can see his pretty face there, sitting there talking and doing his stuff. But it's very clear, it's audible, and the presentation's laid out nicely. That's the standard that we should all be adhering to. It's a similar thing to not swearing, right? We should just present ourselves in the best way possible. It doesn't matter if we're covering stuff that's dead serious, like Christianity or Flat Earth, or conspiracy, because I'm sure for Bobby, or for Bobby Zines' YouTube channel, it's a very serious business for him too, I'm sure. Therefore, the professional level, regardless of what I take out of it, it should be as high as it can be for all of us. You know, just general YouTubers. Don't get me wrong, if you're pointing a phone at something and just uploading it to your personal YouTube account for no other the reason than to have it archived, then no. But for us doing it as we do it, I see this very much as a professional endeavour. Now, not necessarily the same for my panel, but I know they hold me to a professional standard, possibly above and beyond the one that that YouTube demands, which is good, because we're in an arena that we're not taken seriously, and we're considered a joke, we're considered idiots, and therefore we have to elevate ourselves above the standards that are preconceived, and sometimes we take advantage of because people don't see us coming. Anyway, enough of that. Lots of people to subscribe to. Arwin, Righteous Force, Bobby Zines. Should we move on to the video, or is there any other plugs, as we've done good straight, 16 minutes of them so far?
Not got a plug. For me, Owen and Brian were chatting yesterday. And you know I like to go to the derivation of a word. I don't know whether to do it now. Axiom or axiomatic. Do it now or after show?
Do it now.
Yeah.
Do it now.
Do it now! To the chopper!
Okay. So, in a number of debates recently, people have been using the word axiomatic. It's a bit like when we use the word science to imply something meaningful about it. Another way of saying axiomatic is self-evident. I just wanted to read the definitions to hopefully just really define what these are and demonstrate the level of power they actually have. Axiomatic. An axiom is a self-evident truth. The authors of the Declaration of Independence could have written, "We hold these truths to be axiomatic," but it wouldn't have the same ring. The root word of axiomatic, axiom, derives from the Greek axioma, meaning authority, or that which is thought worthy or fit. We use it to describe statements that have the authority of truth about them, or that seem worthy of the truth, or fit to be described as such. That is, an axiom is a proposition that we don't generally question because it seems plain enough that it's true. An axiomatic means evident without proof or argument. And I just want to give the adjective of axiomatic. It is evident without proof or argument. So it's not to say that it's necessarily true. I'd like to give an example. We were talking about a water level, and I live on a ball. Then part of the construct of the axiom that water level is equidistant from a ball, from the center of a ball, it in of itself is axiomatic because the pre-assumed truths, not the testing in the axiom, are that we live on a ball. So within that, it is self-evident that water level would be equidistant from the center of a ball. If we believe we live on a flat Earth, it would be axiomatic that they're the same height above a flat plane. So axiomatic in of itself has no real power. It is just an assumption within things you hold to be true, but it is not necessarily a proof.
So it could be a presupposition.
It is, by definition, a presupposition, just supported by the assumption that it has to be true or would appear to be true based on other things you purport to know.
Gotcha. So you could say, if you're a globe-believing fundamentalist religious zealot who thinks you're standing on a sphere with gas pressure not dispersing into a vacuum, that the violation of the second law of thermodynamics isn't a violation because it's taking place outside of our Earth, and therefore, because it isn't violating the second law, i.e. it's not dispersing into space, that's axiomatic of a globe Earth model.
No, because they're still denying their own reality there. They're still breaking the second law. If you believe you're on a ball, then the axiom that level is equidistant from the center of Earth is fine, because you've not broken any known rule to yourself there. You believe you're on a ball.
Gotcha.
Right.
So,
The
so in other
radius
words,
value.
so long as
The radius
within the
value is
notion it's not
axiomatic.
self-contradictory or non sequitur, then you can describe it as axiomatic. So whereas with my example, it defies the second law of thermodynamics to say gas isn't dispersing into an available volume or an available space. In the case of level maintaining its distance from the centre of a sphere Earth, is an assumption that would have to be holding to be true if we lived on a sphere Earth. And in the mind's eye of the fundamentalist religious zealot declaring it, that is the case, therefore axiomatic in that example. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, fascinating.
And
did
the
not know
radius
that.
value, especially.
Very interesting. I think we'll all agree. Yes, Nathan.
Meaning of words. It's important.
But that's what we do here. It's the semantics of it. And that's all we're dealing with, isn't it? Okay, let's introduce this video. So this is Invicta YouTube channel. And as with all of the videos so far that we've reacted to here, I have no idea what this is going to be. Oh, what have I done? Done something
Good morning,
wrong.
guys.
Hey, Chocolate.
Hey, Chocolate.
Hey, Chop.
Why is it doing this with my stupid... Let's do it in the other chat. That's why I have two of them, I suppose. I've bolted up my chat on the live stream, so... There's a link going out in the live stream, I just can't show you, so if you super chat, I'll just have to thank you verbally. But the link that's going out is to this video that we're about to respond to, which is called... Flat Earth Theory, how was it debunked 2,000 years ago, question mark. As I say, by Invicta. And there's a link going out to that. There. Oh, what have I done there? Oh, there we go. Print field. No, I don't want to print my stupid chat. Thank you very much. Right, there we go. Right, let's actually do the video. So, 14 minutes long. There's no way we're going to get through this on this live stream, but we'll crack on. We'll see how we get on.
The flat earth theory seems to be making a bit of a comeback in pop culture recently.
Immediately, declaration that he doesn't understand what a theory is. So, a theory follows on from a scientific experiment, which follows on from a hypothesis, which follows on from a naturally occurring phenomena that you want to know the cause of. So, science has theories. This is not a theory. Globe Earth is not a theory. None of this is science. We're dealing with concrete nouns if you're talking about the Earth being flat.
Thanks to the internet's ability to lend a megaphone to just about anyone.
Incorrect. Thanks to the Earth being obviously, observably, measurably, and navigatably flat.
I'm sure we've all looked on with varying degrees of amused fascination.
Okay? Meanwhile, we look on at the world that's navigated flat without any bewilderment, amusement, or whatever you want to pour scorn on in this regard. It's just the way the world is.
However, as the trend grows larger, I'm sure that at some...
Hold on. Flat Earth is not a trend. We've got a sort of convolution of what flat Earth is. Shouldn't the clue be in the title? Flat Earth. It's a description. A description of the way the layout of the land as a whole presents itself. It's not a trend. Yeah? This isn't carrying around a toothbrush in your top pocket.
At some point, the laughter has turned to a nervous chuckle. They can't really believe this, right? At the same time, perhaps some of us have even begun to reflect on things. Hang on a sec. How do we know the shape of the Earth?
Good question. Well, you're told from birth. It's indoctrinated into you. You're told it's a sphere. You don't know either way. You personally don't know either way at this point. But you have been told what it is in terms of its shape. Why it would have a shape ascribed at all, I don't know, but you've been indoctrinated with it from birth, which is why you look on with amusement when you hear any alternative to what you've been indoctrinated with.
Well, I'm happy to let...
Did he say that the laughter will turn into a nervous chuckle? Is he talking about himself and his
Possibly. I think so. It's projected fear in most instances when you dig down into it.
Scientists share our best answers.
Puts Neil deGrasse Tyson on. He's not a scientist. Neither is the thumbnail / miniature picture of an astronaut over a flat disk. Pizza pie, Earth. That's not a scientist either. There's no scientists on screen. Neil deGrasse Tyson has never performed an experiment. He is in no way, shape, or form a scientist. So, as declared within the opening 3 seconds of his video in regards to his misapprehensions of what a theory is, he also doesn't know what a scientist is. This is not it.
From the 21st century. In this video, we'll be taking a look at how our ancestors from millennia ago...
Will we? So I hope we've got some primary source information for this. We'll see.
...answered this question. But first, a quick thanks to our sponsor, Squarespace, for making this video possible. We will begin by investigating what the historical and archaeological record can tell us about what people in the past thought of the world. Some of our early...
Hold on. Adam, how would archaeological records in any way, shape or form indicate what people, quote, thought, end quote?
Well, it would be inference at best. It depends what he's going to pull up. I mean, you pull up an astrolabe, then you're going to think that people thought that what they're dealing with was a flat plane. If you're going to pull up a couple of bones or look at some monoliths aligned with the stars, you're not really able to make any distinction. The only thing you could look at is writings, I suppose, which wouldn't be so much archaeological as historical documents. So
that's why I questioned it. Precisely.
The earliest evidence can be found in ancient Mesopotamian imagery. As might be expected,
sorry, in the imagery, did it tell us what the people thought?
These propose varying forms of a flat Earth model. For example, Sumerian and Babylonian depictions portray the Earth as a flat disk, ringed by mountains, floating on the ocean with the hemispherical sky vault resting upon the summits. This
and you think it's a globe?
This roof was punctured by small holes through which one could see the celestial fires of heaven. The pyramid texts of ancient Egypt, which date to the Old Kingdom, demonstrate a similar flat Earth model.
When are we going to get to what they thought? You specifically said this would tell us what they thought.
With a planar body surrounded by eternal seas. It appears that concepts of this early model would also leave a record in the religious ideas of the time. For instance, the Babylonians would posit that the Earth must not only be flat, but also hollow, in order to provide space for their underworld. The Abrahamic religion...
Is this just a string of straw man models that he's going to take apart shortly? Is that what he's doing?
Well, he's migrating from actual references and models to religious convictions all of a sudden. Oh, so that makes their observations of how the world works actually out there physically illegitimate now, does it? Or is it just straw manning?
Well, I don't know. I'm wondering whether that is all it is, that these people were ancient and a bit more backwards than us, and they thought it was flat. But now we're a bit more advanced. We know it's a ball. That's the only... I don't know where else he's taking it, because he's showing that through time, we've treated it, developed our knowledge of the stars based on assuming everything's flat. So I'm not sure where he's going, because I thought they were going to pull out some kind of Greek bits where they're citing it. Even then, back in the past, they thought it was a ball, the Pythagoreans, for example. But it's an odd statement to show that.
That's not where I was going. Thank you. Yeah. That is a good point. You could say it's a Darwin-esque presentation in terms of its depth of research and the visuals presented. Great, but I lend no credence to any of this. Who cares? These are not arguments I would offer up. Who cares what they, according to him, thought when we see these diagrammatical examples of ancient flat Earth models? Number one, we don't live on a model. Number two, where's the evidence supporting these depictions? Or suggestions that that's how they thought the world worked, as opposed to their, what great diagram for our terrarium might work? Where's the supporting evidence for any of it? There isn't any.
And why draw religion into it? Like, why those weird belief little thingies? Like, what does that have to do? Oh, they have to have an underworld. Like, what does that have to do really with it? I mean, none of that was tested. That's obviously belief-based, right?
Well, certainly in this forum, that it doesn't have any relevance. I mean, Righteous Force has been... This is what's on screen now, is what Righteous Force was talking about, Rakia, and look at Neil's logo in the background. This has implications if you're a Bible-believing Christian, because the scripture describes a flat earth within it. So you could use scriptures to support a flat earth. I'm yet to see how this is dampening the the truth about flat Earth. He seems to be adding evidence for it rather than ridiculing it. But
well, from that point of view, he's doing a good job. Well, let's just see how the counter comes out. But in terms of how it's being presented, I'm just saying, if these are just a string of straw men that you're going to take apart, then okay. But these aren't arguments for a flat Earth, you know, and leaning on the past and suggesting that that's what we would offer up. Maybe it's what others have offered up, and he'll give examples of that. I don't know where we'll go with this, like you say. I'm just going to read out a few super chats. So Godzilla37, thank you very much first and foremost for the super chat. They can't let FE grow too big. That is the bad news. The good news is that we all get to meet face to face in the gulag. All right, I see. Okay, well, I look forward to that. Thank you very much for the super chat. Really appreciate the support. Also, Sensual Goat gifted out a membership to... Who picked it up? Master Willie of the House of Boink picked up the membership. Well, wouldn't you know? Also, Godzilla says, hi all. Thank you very much for all the support. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed. Smash the super chat to support this channel.
Also contain many references to their early flat Earth belief. Here are some common examples from the Bible.
Why is it their belief? Now you're divining their thoughts. You see, that's why I kept asking. Where are you getting their thoughts from? Oh, you're not. But you're going to say that this is their quote-unquote belief. So you're superimposing on it. It's just a picture of what? Well, you've not given any context. I possibly could. I'm not going to. Because it's not my claim. Or, technically, my straw man you're making on my behalf. I'm not making this as a claim.
He sits enthroned above the circle of the earth, and it
sounds like he's talking about a dude. As opposed to the model that you're burning as their belief in straw man false dichotomy, presumably. We haven't had the globe offered yet.
People are like grasshoppers. He stretches out the heavens like a canopy and spreads them out like a...
Who's he? Who are you babbling about? I thought this was about flat Earth. Sounds like you're talking about a dude.
Oh, this is Isaiah. Oh, it's on screen, isn't it? This is scripture he's reading. The description in what it says as Isaiah of cosmology. But I'm lost as to how he's going to burn this straw man. It's scripture, so you're not attacking flat Earth. You're now just attacking Christians,
right?
Tent to live in. For he views the ends of the earth and sees everything under the heavens.
I think I figured out what he's doing. So what he's doing is he's obviously come up against Christian flat earthers. And when he's offered up his, no, it's not flat, they've come back at him with scripture. So what he's doing is he's offering up their scripture that he's had offered to them in advance, I think.
He marks out the horizon of the face of the waters for a boundary between light and darkness.
Does he? Meanwhile, Earth is an obviously navigatably and measurably flat surface.
And finally, in Revelations, I saw 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the earth, holding back the 4 winds of the earth.
It sounds a lot like angel talk, and, you know, this hasn't got anything to do with the surface of Earth being navigated flat, for instance.
To prevent any wind from blowing on the land, or on the sea, or on any tree. These descriptions seem quite similar to the Babylonian belief we have discussed. While there is certainly room to take the religious descriptions as more metaphorical than literal, it is clear that the imagery here drew quite heavily on a flat Earth model that must have at some point circulated through the culture. And while such descriptions of the shape of the Earth would continue to live on in various forms, it wasn't long before humans caught on to the error of their...
Who cares? I mean, seriously, who cares? These are pretty pictures.
...ways. Let's now take a look at how they did so.
Now, there you go. That was the point.
Right.
So all that, not for a straw man, just an ad hom. The error of their ways.
Start, I must state that it will be very difficult to speak definitively about what people in the past thought about a given subject.
No shit. Yeah, that's precisely what we said, and you did not. However, you inferred it and then went on to make a presentation with a load of flat Earth strawmen that you then ad hommed the individuals based on their beliefs that you did not present. What? So it's just a shit sandwich, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? It's a bit like Becky yesterday. What do we know about all these measurements? Absolutely nothing. Now let me allude to a load of figures. By the way, we know absolutely nothing about the distances. Well, here we go here. I'm going to divine the thoughts of these people. Check out all these images. This is what they believed. Meanwhile, I know absolutely nothing and it's impossible to divine their thoughts. Yeah. Crap sandwich, my friend. spotted, called out, garbage. This is your standard. It's useless.
At least in the general sense. The historical record is often incomplete, and when we do have data, it often favors the elite over the common folks. As we proceed, I will largely be focusing on the former of these two groups, and using them as a weather vane for the beliefs of the time.
What? A weather vane? Hey man, I've got a crystal ball you can borrow if you want. I mean, weather vane's just as good though. I mean, we could just chuck some chicken bones in a bag and throw them out on the floor and see what they say.
That being said, I do want to state that there are a variety of practical ways that anyone throughout the ages could have come to their own understanding of the curvature of the Earth without
about the curvature of the Earth? They could have come to their understanding, standing under the notion that we have a curved surface to be standing on. Au contraire. No, they measured elevation angle measurements to the lights in the sky to give you your mapping and navigation tools. That's how Earth's navigated, measured, and dealt with to this day. So while people could have had their misapprehensions about how they thought Earth was spherical and curved, reiterated so that they could stand under them, that is not the case in terms of how Earth actually presents itself and is measured. Go ahead, whoever that was.
This guy's indoctrinated. That's all he is.
Yeah. He's telling you how the people of the past could come to his affirmation when it comes to their version of confirmation bias. Oh, wow, that's really nice of you. How fundamentalist and religious zealotry of you.
without requiring scientific advancement. Here are some...
Don't talk about science, you don't know what it is. Scientific advancement? So far you've put Neil deGrasse Tyson up on the screen and talked about theories incorrectly. You don't know what science is, so let's not mention that again.
Simple methods of direct observation.
There is only one method, it's called the scientific method. You wouldn't have the slightest idea what that meant. It's the basis of all sciences, based in physics, which is science. The overlying umbrella for all science. That's natural science, the establishment of cause and effect, by way of systematic experimentation based on a hypothesis, so that you can, afterwards, form a theory. You wouldn't have a clue, mate.
But by his words, then we would have direct observation of the curvature of the Earth that he's talking about. Would that be the case?
It would be, but he's already started to blur the lines and talk about it being science. When we should have maths and measurements. If it's curved, just measure the curve and show it to us. They don't have that.
I think he's probably going to allude to one of today's housekeeping questions here. When he's saying science, we repeat the housekeeping question. Is there any scientific hypothesis from the fields of astronomy, astrology, or astrophysics? They're going to be, this is what is now going to be alluded to be science, I would think, to give the presupposition or evidence of the shape and nature of the Earth they're on based on the stars. I'm not sure where else he's going to go, certainly with the ancients.
May I chime in?
Yeah, you feel free.
What I'm hearing here is he's contrasting the ancients with scientific discovery to build, they weren't privy to the information we got now. I want to tell you something that you all know. To this day, in the current books, they say that celestial navigation uses the celestial sphere model of the ancients with a non-rotating Earth and Earth-centered. To this day, they use this ancient model for everything. And this guy's trying to say the ancients didn't have what we have, but what we have is what they had, because we're using what they had.
Yeah, they have to.
That's
they have
comical.
Observation.
Okay. Might do a quick sponsor link, actually. So I'm going to interrupt this video presentation to do a quick word from our sponsor, which is the good people of Patreon. You get a shout out on all of the Uncut and After shows, individually by name. But if you do want to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 Patreon, then there is a link in the info box below this video. Thank you very much to all of you who support me on Patreon. Proud sponsors of the show. Whoops, pressed the wrong button. That one. There we go. Moving on.
Water, where an observer could look out over a large, level surface and compare what they saw with expectations from a flat versus a spherical Earth model. Ships sailing over the horizon are a great example. A flat Earth model would have them disappear uniformly, while a
Would it? Says who? Who's claimed the flat Earth model? Where is this flat Earth model? Was it one of the models that you showed us earlier? Because those models didn't include uniformity to boats disappearing at the horizon. This is a false dichotomy and a straw man. We do not claim this. So you're holding this false
Before
claim
you go there,
up. Go on.
yeah, but this is exactly what I was saying. So he said back then, the flat Earth model or globe model, but today they use the so-called flat Earth model with the celestial sphere model, assuming a non-rotating Earth that's flat. So here he's saying, back then they had the flat Earth model, which no one said they did, except him. And then he said they have a globe model, and now he's trying to compare. But as we've shown from the books that we've seen, that they still use the ancients' so-called model. So nothing's changed.
Yeah, the model he's going to go to now is the Bill Nye the Science Guy, and there's no says a false dichotomy, because he's going to claim that bottom-up disappearance is due to Earth curve and not shrinking into the distance in a limited angle to the deck, which is what is understood. So he's now going to actually falsify evidence to support and claim, even though we know this, we know how things work on a flat plane and how things disappear in the distance bottom up optically. That's nothing new that flat earthers bring. But what they do here is present the false dichotomy where the only possibility for bottom up obstruction is Earth curve.
Let's break down what's actually occurring here.
Right, so he's excluding perspective again.
Hold on. We do not have a claim about what boats will do at the horizon. There is only one claimant in this regard. The positive assertion about what boats will do at the horizon comes from a globe Earth. So why is he talking about what a flat Earth model that certainly hasn't been presented? So as I said earlier, one of the other models representative of this mathematics of a globe Earth versus flat Earth with boats disappearing at the horizon? Where's the maths in those depictions you showed when you divined the thoughts of people from the past? Yeah, it wasn't there, was it? So where is this maths for a flat Earth and model of a flat Earth coming from, precisely? It isn't. It's not our claim. It's his claim about what boats will do at the horizon, i.e. disappear bottom up because they've gone over a physical, geometric hill called Earth curve at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. We've debunked that in 2020. Their claim about what boats will do. After I debunk their claim, which I will do just in a moment, it matters not what happens to boats at the horizon from that point forward. I'm not making a claim about it. I'm not going to defend what happens at the horizon. What I will say is the globe Earth has a positive claim that boats fall over the edge. Here it is on screen from this false dichotomy straw man that this guy's about to burn in lieu of his failed positive claim that this boat is falling over a globe Earth hill edge called Earth curve at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet in his globe Earth maths for his globe Earth claim for his globe Earth hill blocking this boat in his claim that we are now going to debunk. If the Earth was a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, then every distance to that geometric obstruction this guy is claiming can be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, exactly as laid down in his globe Earth maths. However, the distance to the horizon in the Black Swan is beyond the geometric limitations of an Earth sphere radius 3959. Therefore, the horizon is not a sphere edge blocking boats and buildings. Boats are not falling over a globe Earth edge. It's absurd, and we have debunked it. The Earth is not a sphere radius 3959, and according to their maths, derived from flat Earth elevation angle measurements to Polaris, it can only be a sphere Earth radius 3959 and no other measurement. Once it's debunked at those radii measurements, they are not singular. We haven't got a 250,000 mile radius because of the Black Swan calculable hill, which is beyond the things it's supposed to be blocking if it's a hill for things to fall over on a globe Earth. The horizon's not Earth curve, ladies and gentlemen. We debunked it in 2020. Black Swan. Earth's not a sphere. We'd have a hill in the way of the boats and buildings if we did. We don't. We can show that without any question, without equivocation, without any hesitation. Earth is not a sphere.
Nathan, when was this video from? Is it recent?
3 years ago, around about the time Black Swan came out.
He's not keeping up with the flat Earth debate.
Say again?
He hasn't been keeping up with the flat Earth debate. He's still claiming a horizon is Earth curve, but they do have an edge.
Yeah, let's make it clear again. I hope I laboured that point plenty in my rant. His guy's claiming an edge. Yeah, that's right. You globe Earth idiots have got boats falling over an edge. Isn't that nuts? Sound familiar? Does it sound like something you charge us with? Yeah, here it is on this side. He said this was a flat Earth boat going over a flat Earth edge according to flat Earth maths. No, it's not. We don't make that claim. Yeah, showing a boat falling off the edge of a pizza pie on the Flat Earth Society website isn't going to cut it. It's not our claim. Might be the Flat Earth Society's claim, but it's not my claim. It's not a flat earther. That's me. It's not my claim. I can identify where the claim has originated, though. Here it is on the other side of this false dichotomy, with a boat falling over a globe Earth edge, defined in terms of the physical limitation geometry in globe Earth maths. And what's the title of these globe Earth maths? Earth curve maths, that tells you precisely where the boat will fall over your edge of a globe Earth. That's right. So what happens as a result of your ludicrous claim that the horizon's an edge for boats to fall over? Well, you laugh at flat earthers for having an edge for boats to fall over. That's how it works, ladies and gentlemen. And here it is in practical application when you'll burn a flat earth claim we don't make in straw man false dichotomy to hold up your version of your maths and your claim that boats fall over an edge we debunked in 2020 with the Black Swan. Earth's not a sphere, radius 3959, because every distance to that edge, called Earth curve, could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer sine feet. That's where the hill would get in the way. And hills don't move with the weather. They always block the things behind them physically. And if they don't, then they're not hills getting in the way. We've debunked Earth curve.
A round Earth model would see their topsails disappear last.
Yeah, that's all you've got. A globe Earth model with globe Earth maths and a reification thereof to burn in false dichotomy, because we're not making a claim about that. Let's just shout out another couple of super chats. Thank you very much for all the support, guys. Shout out to Godzilla. He says, I'm sure if you extend the show another 7 years, we'll finally get proof from the globe. 7 more years. 7 more years. Yeah, in 7 years from now, Godzilla, and I absolutely intend to be in 7 years, I'll have people in my comments going, Flat Earth's a dying subject. I'll have like absolutely no hair. The bits on the side will be all grey. I'll have grey pubes, and I'll be there with a walking stick, hobbling along, knocking on 80. Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. We're going to react to some comments. This one says Flat Earth's dying. 8 years I've been here.
Nathan, I think what Adam said is worth repeating here. So Adam, you can. So he said the last thing you would expect to see to prove you're on a globe is the top of the mast disappearing. Really? So when I'm driving towards a destination and I see the top of a mountain, and then as I keep going, I see the midpoint of the mountain. And when I get to the mountain, I see the whole mountain. I supposedly went over a curve, right? I mean, that's his point. Am I right?
Yeah, we debunked that in 2020. If the Earth was a sphere, radius 3959, every distance that hill claimed to be blocking the bottom of the mountain as you approached it could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, and the distance to the horizon in the Black Swan is beyond the geometric hill-based limitation that would block your view at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Therefore, the horizon's on an Earth curve and the Earth is not a sphere, radius 3959. Quick shout out to Godzilla. I had to get that in to keep the segue going. And no, it isn't Godzilla. It's Skeptic936 who I missed. I doubt it. At Gords says Skeptic936. Also, Goldie, thank you very much indeed. 7 more years. Ha ha ha. Thank you very much for all the support. Go ahead, 10th.
Nathan, you're the Micro Machine flat Earth guy.
Micro Machine?
So on...
Remember those?
So on Adam's...
Okay, Arwin, can you hear 10th?
Yeah, I just try to make a point. Sorry.
Right, Micro Machine.
So
Go
Adam,
ahead,
your
10th.
point...
Oh, my bad. Shout out to
Yeah,
Skeptic936. He says, okay, 7 more, but still no curve. Go ahead, 10th.
So Adam's point was the same thing happens when your angle using the deck is constricted because you don't have any more angle to it, and the sky gives you plenty of room for an angle. So the last thing you would see is the mast of the ship on the flat Earth. It happens on the plane the same way.
But don't bite. That's what they got you with.
No, it's not a
Eastern
bite.
nonsense, right?
It's
Why? How
offering-
does it work for you on a flat Earth? Right, that's the same imposition of their false dichotomy, but trying to get you baited into doing it for them. I say it's the limitation of the angle against the flat deck. Why?
No.
Did you make a claim about this, 10th?
No, what I'm trying to do is use the black swan to destroy their claim of curvature. Once that's done and it's destroyed, okay, so it can't happen with the Earth with a radius of 3959 because voila, the black swan destroyed Earth curve. So visually, optically, what am I seeing? Is there any explanation for it? Yeah, what Adam said. That's it.
But why? What? Is there any explanation
people
for...
are-
Okay, hold on.
curious.
Stop. Right, can we just establish a premise for us to all agree upon before we move forward, right? Can we accept that red sky at night, shepherd's delight, right? That there is no attached Earth-based, shape-based claim to that statement? Can we just establish that as a premise before I make an example?
Yeah,
Sounds reasonable.
Okay. Now, if I come along and tell you that the red sky at night has only taken place because of a shifting through the atmospheric conditions that make it basically an axiom that Earth's a sphere, because you wouldn't have had that red sky if it wasn't for the fact that we had sphere-shaped air not expanding into a vacuum. Right. Can you accept that I'm now making a claim on behalf of a glober that premise can only work on a sphere? Can we just accept that and move on to the next part of my point?
Yeah. Yep.
Upon you taking apart my globe Earth claim that atmospheric assumptions, sphere-shaped air assumptions, cause red sky at night, do you, once you've taken that apart, have any requirement whatsoever to explain why the sky is red at that particular time?
No.
Why would you explain why boats seemingly vanish either bottom up or any other description at the horizon then?
Because I've already... Go on, Adam.
Because we found this out before we had the black swan, unfortunately. So we spent many years looking at compression, looking at angles to the deck, limitation, Rayleigh criterion. So it's winning the argument is one thing, and then explaining to a fellow flat earther a bit of detail which helps them understand. It doesn't necessarily, I agree, it's not necessary for the rebuttal because you're not making a claim. But we have painstakingly found that knowledge out, haven't we?
Yeah. Big shout out to Life is Short, one of my Patreons. This show is sponsored by Patreon. But yeah, so Life is Short spent a tremendous amount of time and has subsequently sponsored me for a considerable amount of time afterwards, doing all of the research and spending hours and hours of his time laying it out so that I could understand it, dumbing it down so I could understand it, taking his time explaining it after I've listened to it, not understood it, and answered several questions about it so I could understand it. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, Adam. We've acquired quite an in-depth amount of knowledge about how angulations work across a flat plane. Yeah, I'll agree with that. Do I make any claims about how that proves a flat Earth, even with the knowledge, though?
No, it's to prove optically how we see things. It wasn't to prove flat Earth or anything. It's afterwards you defeat the globe version because there is no R. It's not because of Earth curve. then you say, well, optically, what am I seeing then? Since
Why?
we're on the flat plane.
I mean, it's a
Well, let me
fantastic folly.
finish.
It's just a folly at that point, though, isn't it? Why is the sky red?
Because we just sat down at the pub and we got to eat the fish and chips and we got 2 hours of soccer game and we want conversation. My goodness, it's not wrong to have conversation. To say optically, you see telephone poles the same way in mountains and you see the math. It's the same thing.
No, it's not. I totally disagree.
It's optical.
No, you can get into this. Meanwhile, once you've pulled down their pants and smacked their ass by pointing out that the Earth
I'm not
doesn't have
talking
an
to
edge.
that guy.
Okay, my bad. Just because you've pointed out that they don't have an edge for their boats to fall over at that point, given that you're not making a claim about what the horizon is or what it does or what it's useful for, perhaps moving on to something that actually does use the horizon to make a claim might be more appropriate. In other words, if they're saying boats fall over the horizon, you're like, oh, right, that's a fascinating use of the horizon we've just debunked. Well, what do you say causes it optically? I don't have a claim in that regard. What I do know is that you can use the horizon to establish a horizontal plane of reference to measure angles to stars, as opposed to starting a useless folly endeavour on compression and angles. And don't get me wrong, I can only be in this position, having learnt that, to not decry it, but just set it aside and carry on smacking a globe Earth arse, if you know what I mean.
Okay, the problem... No, I don't know what you mean, because you're missing the context of my conversation. And since we're not an echo chamber, I must protest. Here's why. I'm talking to a person that already knows it's debunked, meaning the globe, the R value, black swan. He gets it. And we're just having conversation about optical things and what we see. And what is that? Well, we know it's not from a globe, so it's from a plane because of the horizon, because of elevation angles. And optically, this is why. So if we enter into a conversation, as Adam said, because this came before and there was a lot of research done before the black swan, I'm doing it in the context of not flat smacking a glober. I've already killed the globe with the black swan. Now I'm just having discussion on optics and how we see. And it's not necessarily a debate with a glober. It could be with a flat earther explaining to him the black swan. That's how you kill the globe. And then the flat earther says, well, then why is it we see this way? And do you have any research for that? And I said, well, here's what we found out before the black swan. And I go into what Adam said about Rayleigh criteria, compression and all that. But the elevation angle with the sextant is obviously the next thing that's going to come out if they're going to fight about anything.
No, I disagree. The next thing I'll be using at this point would be quoting Mr. Nathan Oakley, who uses a great analogy about a brick and more bricks on top of that brick. I want my flat earther to just comprehend what's happening, not accept what I'm saying, but just give him a bit more explanation. So I've poo-pooed the ball. We've demonstrated it's not a ball, but that's not to say you have to believe me. Let me give you a bit of evidence for your mind to work on so you can comprehend it.
Bastard.
Maybe
you
could give that analogy.
What Adam's just done.
Excellent.
And stop. What Adam's just done is he's used an example that was a failure on my part to boost or bolster the example 10th man's making. Right. Me detailing the bricks on that debate was a failure on my part. That's me biting on the false dichotomy and offering up the explanation I'm decrying in this example. So what Adam's done is gone, ooh, I can think of an example where Nathan did exactly that and started offering up the alternative explanation. So that's what he's using. You bastard.
I've not used it in the debate. I've said I've used it with my fellow flat earther. There's a difference. You're not going to use it in the debate. You've already won. You can just keep going back to the black swan. But if I'm talking with a fellow flat earther that says, wow, that's brilliant, what is happening? I need to know more. That's when you'd share that analogy and take them, but not in the debate. If I'm, like say, if I'm in the debate, do I want to cause more pain? Yeah, let's get into celestial navigation then.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I'm just going to do another shout out. Shout out to Sasha Unitox Femu, who's been a member for 26 months. Wow, that's a long time. 77 years later, and what about satellites and how you explain the seasons and if Earth is flat, why fog is white, and you don't have a model and you don't understand.
Oh, we got a Globey.
Very good. I love it. Okay, so with that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Primary streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a member or gifted a membership and all that good stuff. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on an after show. I've been Nathan Oakley and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!
Adam went for coffee.
Right.
Hey, why did he end the show so early? We had almost 140 people.
It's just how long it's scheduled for.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Nathan.
Oh, gosh. Go on,
Just
Adam.
quickly disconnect and reconnect just to be safe. There might be an audio issue. Go on. Come on, 10th. What were you saying about coffee?
Well,
Adam went to get coffee.
Right. Disconnect and reconnect in Discord, Nathan.
Oh, okay.
I can hear Nathan fine.
Maybe you should disconnect and reconnect. I will anyway.
Sounds painful to disconnect and reconnect.
Are we having some accelerating coffee today?
No accelerating coffee cups today, chocolate.
Been there, done that, chocolate.
Yeah, I like the show to be an hour. There's a reason we have a pre-show, because the warm-up is done. And then, you know.
And why do you say, if we reach 150, you're going to stay on longer? Don't say that anymore then.
Did I say that?
You've always said that. Just
Always?
because we were 10 shy. I was looking for a little grace. You didn't give the audience a chance to invite people, to extend the show like you did in the past. You just ended it.
Oh, you guys want me to invite somebody?
Tense just wants the momentum of the live show to continue, and I get it, you know. But I like keeping it to an hour. I think people appreciate that there's a focused live show, and it typically has the most condensed, most concise information in it, and I like keeping it that way.
All right.
We've got the
All right,
3-hour show, sometimes 4-hour show that occasionally swings around. Most of the time, I ideally like to keep each show to 2 hours. Half an hour pre-show, an hour live show, half an hour after show, and then if a fundy happens to join and it runs over that, then so be it. But typically these endless 3 or 4 hour shows, it's too much time for people to take up watching the show, in my opinion.
Fair enough, but what you got to do is consider holding off talking about this video till tomorrow and just fit it into your 1 hour each time, so that people who only want that 1 hour get the full video. Because when you go into the after show, due to time constraints, busy schedule, whatever, they forget to hear the second half. But if it's the live show, it's just an hour, they can plug that in and get the full context of this review.
Well, we'll do the other half of it tomorrow. We only got like, how many minutes in did we
Good
get?
compromise.
3 minutes, 4 minutes
Yeah.
in. 4 minutes. So of a 14-minute video, yeah, I'm pretty sure we can focus on that tomorrow.
Perfect. To me, if you have a 1 hour show, I don't care. But just make sure the review videos are all in that hour the next day and the next day. Don't spread it in the after show, because then it's not consistent to share.
Well, yeah, but when we've done 4 minutes of a 10-minute video on a live show that's an hour, I think it's probably a good idea to maybe start looking at it just to get us warmed up in the tail end of the pre-show, and then it'll tail into the live show. We'll ask a couple of housekeeping questions and get back into it tomorrow. That's what we'll do. Did those TikTokers
I'm sorry, I
come?
was on mute. Hang on. I was saying something.
Hold on. Is there any newbies in Discord?
We had one guy come in new, but I don't think he came from Gene's Link. He came from somebody else. It was a friend of Maddie. But he's not in here at the moment. He doesn't want to be on the show or on the stream, he said.
Let me
I
wrap
even
up my
told
comment.
him, I said, lose the username, get a voice changer, just come on the show. And they were like, nah, it's an echo chamber. I said, well, what is this place?
I'm not coming on. It's an echo chamber. You're being invited to come in and disagree. I love those sorts of self-contradictory, nonsensical statements.
No, what's crazy is
Can I
that
wrap
he
up?
agreed the first day. He said, yeah, I already got David's white scalp. I'll add another one. And then I said, good, it's a date then. Next thing you know, he hits me with the next day. Nah, I'm not going on.
Yeah, he knows better. Go ahead, Zen.
Yeah. So because it makes it easier to share your 1 hour shows because we don't have to wait for the uncut and after show. And it gets crazy with context and when this was done. All your review videos should be constrained to the 1 hour show. And if you're not done, save it for the next day. That way I can send part 1, part 2, part 3, which I've been doing when you do it that way.
Indeed.
Well,
you hear me? Or spinning, or not spinning anymore. So maybe we can do
You've
that
seen
one
that
tomorrow.
chart.
we
Did
went
any of
from
you guys watch the video that I actually watched through this time?
So we respond to chocolate.
yeah, I think so. I got something to say after you're done, Adam.
Have you? I assume you've seen it as well. The Michikaku claim.
I watched the whole
Yes,
thing. Yeah.
yes.
Fill people in, mate, because I'm only halfway through it. I had to stop.
Well, the part it was very interesting because it was one of the Fox News anchor gals, Kennedy, and they were going back and forth. And you could tell she was making Trump and political jokes out of the statements, kind of like I do with puns. And then he was laughing it up, Michio Kaku, and answering a very serious question with very like, oh yeah, we've known this. Every 70 years this happens. It goes backwards. It stops. Yeah, it's no big deal. It's a cycle kind of a thing. And then he talks about the liquid metal down at the core, and then they talk about traveling. Has anyone been down there? Was one of the questions she asked them. Well, no, it's too hot. You know, and then how do you know all this? I mean, how do you come to this decision that this is what's happening? Oh, we measure earthquakes. I mean,
Yep.
so basic, so baby talk that anyone who's been visiting our debate channel and knows just a few questions would have debunked it instantly. Totally. And then this magnetic force that wouldn't be there if it was liquid metal, that never got into. So.
And then literally compared it to the movie The Core.
Yep.
Like, yep, the plot of The Core has come true.
But here's
the crystal caves, damn it.
But here's the genius of Michio Kaku. Oh yeah, Hollywood does this, but we as scientists know it's. So you see, this laughter. It's this end of the world maybe, but it's not, and it happens every 70 years or whatever he said, and it's like I'm watching it, and he's having to defend the undefendable with laughter and jokes, basically.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And then as the poor lady is, in her heliocentric fantasy, sitting there thinking about how it's possible that this molten iron core has stopped spinning, he doesn't go into, but nobody in my field uses the scientific method. It's, see the pan, leaps of logic. It's
and then she says, okay, good. Thank you for helping me. When I go home, I'll tell my children so they won't be scared.
Can you click X on the ad? Did you want to play this?
Oh, is this the CNN version one you got up here?
Yeah,
big news, man. Wait, I'm trying to. If this is big news like this, why haven't any of the Globers presented this to us in the past 7 years we've been doing this? This wasn't top of the charts to talk about, even though supposedly this is something some of these guys have been saying has happened since 2009. That's cute.
Chocolate, you know what's happening.
It's a work in progress, man. They don't know about that.
Right, pop yourselves on mute for a sec. Just pop yourselves on mute for 1 sec. Go ahead, Adam.
What I was doing was I've just sent it you. I thought it'd be better if you had control, so I just sent it you so you could start.
Oh no! Oh, I mean, if we're gonna do that, I'll do a reaction
I'll
to
do
it.
it.
But I thought there was a little
Press
bit that
play.
you wanted to play. No, fair
No,
enough.
no, it's 3 minutes 45.
No,
So
no,
it
no.
is.
Definitely not.
No, that's what I thought. That's why I was surprised you didn't play.
No, do a reaction. Do a reaction.
No,
video.
it's not
This
that. I
would be
thought you
worth-
had a little like 10-second bit that he wanted to play that specifically said what they were claiming. But no, that's fine.
Probably this first bit, but I'd have to go and find. I'll go and find it for you and come back.
Okay, well, we'll do
Well,
it
he's
tomorrow.
doing that.
We'll do it tomorrow.
No, we got this other. Okay, yeah, tomorrow sometime. But you got to finish the video today. Tomorrow, remember that.
Yeah, we're gonna
So
do
we
that.
can. Okay.
You want it to
okay,
be
so-
tomorrow more than anything, don't you?
You
Really?
want to do my video? It's like
No, the point. Gosh, Nathan, listen. For the umpteenth time, in context, day after day, if you're going to do everything in 1 hour, which I have no problem with, I think it's a good idea. Then, if you don't finish the next day, you must continue on without bringing something else, unless you do it in some other time and tomorrow. But that 1 hour show needs to be the continuation of what you were reviewing today. So, because when it makes it easier to share.
Indeed. Well, we'll get to it tomorrow.
Yeah,
Okay,
you tell that Englishman.
Indeed. And with
Okay, back to this video. So the one I saw Chocolate had was Fox News. Now this one Adam's got CNN. So he's on tour because the two Chinese scientists, pseudoscientists, said the Earth's core has stopped, turning. So now he's got to go out and calm the people down. So he's on the circuit right now.
I got 20 seconds. If you wish.
Oh, perfect. Everyone mute.
Just sum it up. Okay, I'll press play.
You.
Morning, glad to be on.
What does this mean?
Well, at first it sounds like something from a Hollywood movie.
Right.
The script says, oh my God, the core of the earth is spinning backwards. I mean, this is worse than having a tsunami or an earthquake. The stability of what you walk on is at stake. Now, this report comes not from Hollywood. It comes from reputable scientists at Beijing University that analyze echoes. When an earthquake takes place, shock waves go reverberating around the inside of the earth. And by analyzing these echoes with computers, you can recreate a model of the.
Okay, so that is it in effect. Death cell and PNS waves. But
Right.
to make a new claim that we've not got a molten iron core, we've got a solid oscillating thing that's now about to reverse.
We did cover this the day it came out, and we just went, yeah, it's just the same old crap. It's P waves and S waves. It's the same old stuff we've heard many a time before. It's nothing new.
No,
but
he's
this time
obviously-
he didn't say it stopped. He said it's spinning backwards. So that
Backwards.
yeah. So see, so it's still spinning. It's just going the other way now.
Right.
And don't forget the beginning. Don't forget the beginning. Reputable scientists from Beijing University.
Of it.
The iron is like a yo-yo. Goes back and forth, stops spinning, and then goes the other way again. It's like a yo-yo in space-time.
And with that, I'm going to say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams. Hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!